Dad, it is now 3 years since you breathed your last. I don't know if you are hearing me or not. Both ways, I am not supposed to tell you this. If you are not hearing me, then I am talking to myself. Or better still, I am talking to the third party. Uh, if you are hearing me, then you know more than I am telling you. So you should be the one to tell me and not me to tell you. Dad, that is philosophical. You are with all our mothers, but today I will talk about Mama Anna Javere, my stepmother, the lady who had no kid of her own, but she brought up the children of her co-wives, me included. She was very philosophical, especially about death. And that is why, Dad, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you and referring to her and not the other two mothers. I do not know the academic qualification of Mama Rosa. I don't think I've ever had that discussion. But I have discussed with my mother, Mama Lucy. I have discussed with Mama Anna Javere. My understanding is that Mama Lucy, with her standard 4 education, common entry at Kiriko Primary School, Kayaba, most definitely she was the most educated of our mothers. But I would say this without any shadow of doubt that the philosophy that we are going to share today is the philosophy of Mama Anne Javere, who, to the best of my knowledge, she never stepped into standard 2. Yes, she went to school and refused to school. Her father beat her up, and a stranger bypasser, told her father that you don't have to force anybody to go to school if she did not want to go to school. But today we are not referring to all those. We are referring to her philosophy about death. I think it's her thinking about life after death that has affected me. But before I talk about her, let me copy paste her philosophical angle. As a Christian, I am conflicted. We are told that people, especially good people, go straight to heaven. We are also told that on the last day, a trumpet will sound and we will all arise and wait for judgment. We are told that the dead are living and they see and communicate what we are doing. But then the same religion tells us that we will go and await for the trumpet. Now, if we have to follow the philosophy of trumpet, it means that if we follow the philosophy of trumpet, it means that dead people don't hear. They are sleeping and they will be woken up by a trumpet. But then, Dad, I've also noticed something about death from the African perspective. I have seen from other people, including JI-TENGE, your own father, that people who are bad or people with a debt do come back to the living undisturbed. You remember the cow, you remember the bull Plessy, which you had to slaughter for your father because of whatever was happening to me, Haoya and Hakasa. And you remember also that after you slaughtered it, we never had any problem. I want to believe, Dad, that the four of you yourself, Japheth Lando, Mama Rosa, Mama Lucy, and Mama Ann were good people. Because those you left behind, you have never had issues that we used to have, that maybe we were having issues at home because your father, my grandfather JI-TENGE, was unpleased where he is. We have never come across, from the four of you, we have never come across an incident that makes we have nightmares or we have anything. Dad, we have also agreed among ourselves that coming from a complicated situation where a person like Mama Ann had no kid, so she has, leave alone a girl, she had no kid. So we are her kids, and we are grateful to her for bringing us up. She had no kid, so when we discuss things, we have to look into her welfare. We also have to put into mind that Mama Lucy was a Kikuyu from Madera West and was buried there. We have to put into consideration a lot of things unique to the Luhya tradition. Dad, we decided that at the appropriate time, because this thing is not among the Luhya. The Luhya, they say we have to make a special remembrance for you first. And then from there, we start doing a lot of remembrance here and there. We have to bring my mother's shadow from Madera West, Karatina, all the way to Luandeti. Just like your nephew, the vice president, his shadow was brought from where he died up to Kitale. We have agreed jointly that one day we will have a hyper, or is it a bumper festival, where we will mix them all. We know that the tradition says that we do the festival for the father first, or the male parent, and then we go for the female parents one by one. But Dad, we have decided to do it jointly because the Luhyas who started that tradition never imagined that a person like you would go all the way to Tumutumu to get a wife. And also they did not investigate a situation where she has to be buried at Kayaba. So we decided as your children that the Makumbusho and Ohala Komukoye, we will do it jointly because you are many and yours is a unique things. Dad, if you are hearing me, please accept that and understand. It is you who went to Karatina and not me. And so when we are correcting it, kindly understand. But from what I have seen So far, the 3 years, it has been that the 4 of you were good people. Otherwise, we have never had an incident which Luya associates with the people who are bad or people who are demanding that their funeral or their rites have not been performed. We saw that with your father and your step-brother Tondo. So we can say that that is what we have planned so far. To add this to earlier question of whether you can hear or not, the philosophy is very near that of Mama Ann, my stepmother. When her father died, her mother used to look at his grave and wonder if he has feelings, if he is watching over them. What was his feeling, especially with various events happening? According to Mama Ann Havere, she respected her mother too much that she feared telling her that when one dies, that's the end of everything. Dead people don't see. Dead people see nothing. They hear nothing. They feel nothing. They smell nothing, according to Mama Ann Habere. So she feared, she respected her own mother to an extent of not telling her that whenever her mother would talk to the grave of her father, Mama Ann Habere, due to respect, she feared telling her that, according to Mama Ann Habere, which to me is philosophical, is that dead people hear nothing, see nothing, and whatever. So you are only, according to what her mother was talking to, a mold of soil. This year, I intend to remember one thing about you. I remember that you believed in some of us being intellectuals. You believed in pushing us. I believe your pushing was discouraging us. Sincerely. Even today, I just feel that way. You beat us up. Yeah, occasions you beat somebody up because he was number 4 out of 25. That is me. But you could go to Adam's Arcade and buy somebody ice cream who was number 20 out of 25. Yes, the Bible says good people continue doing good and bad people continue being bad. Maybe that one may have affected your reasoning, in that you may have reasoned that clever people continue being clever and foolish people continue being foolish. But then, those of us whom you pushed very hard ended up with tertiary education. Those you left, those you are treating with kids' glove, none can recall his or her Form 1 education. None. If you meet them and ask them, when you completed your primary and you are feeling, which was your first choice for Form 1, second choice and third choice, they cannot even recall that. They cannot even recall the selection that they did for their Form 1. And I can say this without any shadow of doubt, that I do recall all the schools that I applied for Form 1. I even recall all the schools that I applied for Form 5. I can tell you this was like Form 5, my first choice was Upper Hill, second choice was Highway, and the third choice was Narok High School. So we remember that. But those you used to treat with kids' glove. If somebody asks them, what was your selection for Form 1? Of course, you know that because when the results came out for their primary and you asked them which school did you apply, they could not remember. Those you beat not only ended up with post-secondary education, but their children, that is your grandchildren, ended up in tertiary institutions. Those you beat, you can find university people there. But those you treated with kids' gloves, even the children that they have, your grandchildren, they have never gone past ordinary schools. They have just ended there. Uh, I'm sure you remember putting on number 1 blue sash uniform and saluting the head teacher of Kaimosi girls for a replacement of a girl who was called to Kaimosi girls but had to go to Hanarambe school because her parents could not afford school fees of Kaimosi girls. Nowadays, Kaimosi girls is called French School Kaimosi. I remember you putting on that ceremony uniform, going to salute that head teacher, accompanied by the recently deceased Muhwami Stephen, because the head teacher was an aunt to Muhwami Stephen. Went to see her, you saluted her, and requested that your daughter replace those who could not afford secondary school, a boarding secondary school. So they were called to French school Kaimosi girls. They could not afford, they went to an Arambe school. You went to grab that and you felt that you should go there in your ceremonial uniform. Dad, you hold a history of having children. Spend 4 years in the first 2 forms, and they spent 3 different schools. Those you used to treat with the kids' glove, they spent 4 years, 4 years in Form 1 and Form 2. And they spent Form 1 and Form 2 in 3 different schools. Bungoma High, Kakamega High, and a private school in Mombasa. Kaimosi Girls, Devonshire College, SSD Girls in Nairobi. And somebody ends up in Form 2 third term. Somebody doing Form 2 third term, when the people she started schooling with are coming to the same to school to find out what they did in Form 4. The ones you are treating with kids' glove never stepped in Form 3. Nobody has broken that record of your ice cream kids, apart from there are those people who repeat repeatedly because of school fees issues or because of health issues. Somebody goes to Form 2, he becomes sick, admitted to hospital for long. The teachers feel that it is safe, it is not, it is better for him or her to restart in Form 1 so that he or she catches up. We have those people who do that because of they had been at home for long because of sickness, or their parents have not been paying fees, and that is why they spend so many years, or both. But I've never seen somebody whose whose parents are in police grade 6, and a parent who used to pay all the fees at a go. I've never seen that. Actually, Dad, one thing we have to be grateful for you is that there is no day we have ever been chased from school because of school fees. This father, your kids have also been in jails. No- With your daughter in Germany having escaped jail, and as a former police officer, you know, when somebody has a jailbreak, he or she, when arrested, has to go back and complete the sentence that was remaining, and on top of that, he or she will have to, get 6 months for breaking out of jail. The daughter you are treating with the kids glove, she's now in Germany. She's a jailbreaker in Kenya. She ran away from a penal institution. She ran away from an institution that is run by Kenya Prison Services. Her follower also broke out of Shimolatewa prison. Those are the people, according to your philosophy, is that since you had given up hope on them, you just wanted them to swim along until they reach Form 4 and whatever. But those of us who could reach even number 4 out of 25, you wanted us to beat up so much so that we become number 1. Thanks for teaching us. Those you did not teach, prison taught them. Yes, you used to beat us the way somebody's lynched by a mob, but we have ended up well. I can tell you that we did not bring up our children beating them the way you beat us, but by extension, you educating us up to the levels that we reached, it has gone up to your grandchildren, our children. Dad, your daughter in Germany wrote a book and called herself Maria Kwalanda, a daughter of your brother whom you follow, immediate follower. As a detective, you know that that is impersonation, because as of this time, she has never told Maria Kwalanda that she wrote a book in Germany and impersonated Maria Kwalanda. Why she did not call herself Lilian JI-TENGE and called herself Maria Kwalanda, I don't know. But legally and morally, she's supposed to sit down with Maria Kwalanda and tell her that I wrote a book in your, and even give her some money. I have not read the book, but she places you on the level of Hitler and Amin. Talking of Idi Amin, I wish to meet those Germans and tell them that the only time your name and Amin can be in the same sentence is that trip you led the Amateur Boxing Association of Kenya to Uganda with Joshua Okuthe. Amin, Field Marshal Idi Amin Dada, had a special gift. And of all Kenya boxers, and of all Kenya delegation, Amin decided to give you a piece of cloth, a very nice piece of cloth, with his portrait on it. You are many, about 12, but Amin decided to give it to you. The 11 other people, including Joshua Makale, Joshua Makale and even Joshua Okuthe and Wamze, they just saw you being given a very good piece of cloth by Amin. They must have felt bad that it was not them who were given. But since you are the head of delegation, he gave you that piece of cloth. What did you do with that cloth? You gave it to this daughter of yours who went to Germany and equated you to Idi Amin. Dad, if you are listening to me, I can repeat that the only time your name and Amin falls in the same sentence is when Amin gave you a very good piece of cloth with his portrait on it. He bypassed everybody and gave it to you. And you, what happened? You bypassed all of us and gave the Amin cloth to our sister. Now her way of thanking you for giving for giving her the Amin cloth is she wrote a book where she equated you to Eid Amin Dada. I am sure you remember that she used to catwalk in Madaraka Estate to attract men like an exhauster attracts flies. You had to clean shave her because of that. I remember you using uh, a shaving machine. This is what you call uh, the one you used to shave your beard with. I remember you using it to shave her clean head, bald head. You remember finding her red-handed, being at your driver's house instead of being at school. She never wrote that in her book. She only wrote that is the person who equated you to Hitler. The money from her book, she came and entertained you. I know if you are listening, I mean, if you can listen to me and if you can monitor what I'm saying, you are also aware that the money that she used to come and pamper you with was money from the book that she had maligned you. After you died, she came demanding to be included in the sharing of your land. But the clan prevailed upon her by saying, no daughters will be given any piece of land. Dad, I understand what the clan was doing. Although my sister was saying that she was using the 2010 constitution, saying that she deserves land from the clan. But any constitution does not, it acts from the day it is effective. Now, if she has to demand for land as your daughter, then our aunts, Nahendo, Nerima, and others could also come out. So the constitution of 2010 says that any daughter who was married after the 2010, when it comes to land distribution, she has to be given land like any other. Any daughter married after 2010. But if you have to go back, then you have to go back and find the lady called Nambengere. Nambengere, and she'll also demand land. When she was, but that is my interpretation of the constitution and laws of Kenya. But your clan refused to give land to your daughters because at every meeting, the number kept on increasing. It only stopped when the clan decided that no daughter will be given land. When during your funeral, it was said you had 2 daughters. And by the time the clan was sitting down to deliberate, you had reached 16 daughters. Your daughters had reached a stage where they could call any lady and say, just claim your land or daughter, then you'll be given free land. It had gone that serious. So that is how it is. And then our sister, after being told that no daughter will be given any land, she rushed to your house in Sight and Services in Webuye, and she's collecting rent. I don't know I don't know about her, the logic she's using, because she's saying that she used to come with a lot of money and give it to you. which we don't know how much it is, because she took you to Sarah Obama's place. She used a taxi, so she has calculated when you are in Kisumu. You is it Sunset? I hear you went to a hotel called Sunset. So she's demanding all that. Your daughter, whom you gave the mean cloth, your daughter, whom you loved more than all of us combined, who wrote a book saying that you are as bad as Hitler or Amin. Your daughter who came and said, Dad, I want you to see the world. Take a plane from Kisumu to Mombasa. You took you to White Sands and whatever. Now that daughter says that since she was not given any land, tragicomedy, now that she was not given any land, she has taken that house in site and service, and she has said that she'll be collecting rent until that amount ends. Now we don't know what amount it is, and the rent in Webuye for a house in site service is 5,000 shillings. Now suppose she's demanding 500,000. Suppose she's that is 100 years. That is one. Two, even if she's saying that, money spent on a parent, do you demand it? And then, how did she acquire that money? How did she acquire that money? She acquired that money by maligning you. Then we just look. Some things are tragicomedy, but they are entertaining and they are laughable. They are laughable. Finding that somebody can write a book maligning you, gets money, spends on it on you, removes you from home, takes you to Sunset Hotel in Kisumu, takes you to Kogalo. Kogelo, is it Kogalo? Kogelo. To see Mama Sarah Obama. You board a jumbo jet all the way to Mombasa, White Sands and whatever. That money is coming from the book she maligned you. And then later grabs the house, which rent is, I think, 5,000. So she's saying that she's calculating up to the time when the amount she used on you, which she got maligning you, until that money comes to the same figure that she had, then she will still continue doing that. But anyway, there is a lot of things I can say I acquired from you. The most important is the investigative manner. Of course, your investigation was DCI related and mine was NIS related. But it is just like a biology, you being a biology teacher, and then you give birth to a child who becomes a chemistry teacher. You're both science teachers, isn't it? But then I appreciate what had happened. Um, Forgive me for remembering the beating, because Jimmy Carter, yeah, I remember you used to like Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter followed you recently, but one time Jimmy Carter said that when you are campaigning for a seat and you promise people things and deliver 95% of what you promised, people will always see the 5% that you did not deliver. So forgive me for remembering the kiboko and not remembering the good things. Generally, you are a good person and you believed in me. That is important. You believed in me. There are occasions you really even said you believed in me. Have a nice time, Dad.